Thank you, everybody, for being here. We absolutely have a quorum. Would the secretary like to do a roll call now that I have called this meeting to order?
All right, your secretary can go ahead and do roll call. Monarch, not present.
Milan is
President.
present.
All right, Milan present. Vice President.
I am present.
Secretary, yours truly speaking. I am present. Treasurer.
Present.
All right. Liaison, are you here?
Present.
Alternate.
The alternate, Athena, has stated they will be here, but they will be late.
Okay, gonna put a squiggly. All right. Any others that are attending? I heard there was a dagger in the building or online.
Yep.
Thank you for being here, Dagger.
Prime Minister present.
Yes, Prime Minister, you were present. I was going down my list. I was writing it down. All right. Did I miss anyone? Sure, I didn't miss anyone after that.
It looks like Athena has just logged in.
God,
Cool.
Athena is so late. I can't believe it.
I can get rid of my squiggly.
Missed so much.
I know, I'm terrible. I missed almost the end of roll call.
All right.
Oh, I love that.
All right, Mr. President, you have the floor after attendance.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here, obviously. Would we like to read the minutes of the last meeting?
Sure, second.
All right. I'm going to pull them up right now. I apologize that I did not have them pulled up. That's entirely on me. Almost there.
A motion to approve is written.
Where the hell are the notes? Oh,
There's some truly good pieces of gold in there, though. We should clearly go through them.
I agree. I think we should as well. I was looking for April and for some reason couldn't find the April minutes. And then I realized what month we were in. Okay. So Scorch, Brian, Andrew, Ethan, James, Talon, and Athena. And then Dash was kind enough to visit last meeting as well, primarily to talk about storage, which we will be touching base upon today. There has been an update to the Aureus Saltis contract. I will be reading their statement to the BoD today. The AI BoD overpayment discussion is not a BoD issue. Andy is going to attempt to find the contract. I believe we actually did. Dark Shore Insurance, that has been paid. If I'm going too fast or if anybody has any questions, please let me know. Insurance under Westmarch name. This was a very lengthy conversation that we had, and it was kind of an important conversation. And we are briefly going to touch base upon this with an update about this Dark Shore. James may have made some forays today into how to get funds to the Dark Shore autocrats, which leads into the PayPal debit research. Dash is doing research for us, it looks like. I'm going to say I did not touch base with Dash about that, and I apologize. The event waiver, we'll talk about this in further detail. The event waiver, according to the current Capora, must have a ID on it. So my whole goal of taking the ID off of the event waiver goes directly against our Capora. So that kind of nixed that. We were able, thanks to Talon, to kind of get everybody on Smart Waiver. Most of the lands now have access to Smart Waiver. Thank you to Talon and everybody else that was involved in that.
I'll have an update on that. It's only 9 out of 19. We do not have a majority.
Well, there we go. I had that information. I apologize. Most people, I believe, have access to Discord. I was going to say all, but I might have been wrong again. 17-year-olds are rebellious, apparently. Welcome to Flavor Town. The DEI updated statement for Westmarch conversation. That's something we'll table until April. We may have an update today. I found pricing on a trailer. I found a couple different trailers that were in a good price range. if we decide to go with the trailer, they are very affordable. Dash Storage is the storage facility we might be going with. And we did a meeting. We had some stuff that might be going on the April memorandum, and these were all added. So that is what we have. Does anybody have any questions about the March minutes? With no questions, does anybody have anything against me approving the message, the minutes?
I motion to approve.
I second.
Thank you very much for that. Okay. Let's start off with some happy.
One
positive...
quick note, we've had 2 additional people log in. Scorch and Ginger are both available now.
Scorch, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. And who else?
Just updated.
Ginger, also known as Dash.
Oh, Dash.
Hello.
Dash, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you very much for that. I don't know what part of the minutes you saw, but I would love to touch base with you on the PayPal debit research. If you haven't done anything, please know it's completely fine, but we would like to potentially touch base on that in the future. Okay.
Sounds good.
I like to start off with positive stuff. Let's start off with a congratulations to our new pending monarch. Everybody clap it up. Take yourself off mute. Let's get a clap in. Thank you so much, Sebastian, for stepping up. This is also, this is a wonderful thing because we had a contested election. We had multiple people that wanted to serve Westmarch, and that is something we have had difficulty on for quite some time, where people had to step up because nobody else wanted to do it. And this time, now we're starting to see people buy in. We're starting to see people be really passionate about things. Thank you, everybody, for running, obviously. Sebastian, from the very first post that you've been doing for the past week or so, you're so well organized. It's obnoxious. It's almost sexy. I'm just going to say it. Thank you for what you're doing, and I'm excited to see what you end up doing for the next 6 months. Okay, does anybody have any other statements about the election that we ran? Anything they'd like to say for, to our monarch? Please, floor is open.
It was also our most attended election that we've ever had. Some votes I had to let go because Valon is a new land that hasn't ever paid tithes before. But otherwise, it was really well.
I love the fact that we held fast and didn't accept votes from lands that didn't tithe. I'm big on inclusivity and I'm big on giving everybody a voice. But in that situation, we have to abide by the laws, and I love that we did that. And hopefully, we won't have that issue in the future.
Does Valon know how to tithe?
Yes, and I've been working with them on that. So they're going to they're working on it. They just didn't have it in time.
Tirza Brown, known as Master Rose, made an
Master
SOP
Crown
on
Rose. She
how to
doesn't have a
tithe.
Master Rose.
Say that again, Scorch.
She does not have a Master Rose. She has a Master Crown.
I'm sorry.
We'll get that fixed.
My apologies. Master Crown Rose did make an SOP on how to tithe and dropped it in the Prime Minister chat. It has been disseminated. Most people should know how at this point in time. If they don't, please get in contact with somebody in this meeting. If you're watching the YouTube video, we will happily assist you.
Yeah, I would love to see that document stored somewhere publicly, so it doesn't get lost in a chat folder somewhere.
Absolutely.
The other land that I had to refuse was Misty Vale, but their only vote was 1 abstain, so not a big loss.
There we go. Okay, I have the how to tithe on my desktop somewhere. It's not necessary to bring up right now, but it'll be posted on at least the AMP wiki, the Westmarch BoD AMP wiki, by this evening. Okay, comments about regional events from the Monarch, pending Monarch, and BoD responsibility contracts. Ethan, I'd like to ask you a brief question. One of your posts specifically said we're having 5 regional events, and BoD is going to go over the contract. Can you please tell us what you expect from us so we can have as much ahead notice?
Yeah, so basically these are, well, not basically, these are kingdom level events, and the plan is to have 4 of them, 1 in June, 1 in July, August is mid-reign, so that's going to be handled by the regent. Then the one will be in September or October, whatever month Dark or Feast of Gods is not, and then one in November. If those events want to do something like rent a paintball field or something like that, that would be then a contract that would at least have to be reviewed by the board of directors. In addition, event insurance and things like that may come into play. So the board of directors would be looked to support that as well.
Perfect. Do we need to review who is making payments and such like that, or are we kind of just giving James carte blanche on that?
Are we reviewing who's making payments? As in,
if the autocrat says, "Hey, I need $500 to rent a paintball field," and submits that to James, is that something the BoD needs to review?
No, I can handle that.
Thank you.
That will go through our standard payment channels.
Perfect. That sounds fine with me. Does anybody have any questions about the 4 kingdom level events? All
How
right.
much are you accepting as bribes to accept my bid?
We'll talk about that offline.
When there are witnesses.
First, I'll have to move to Rivermore, and then
Don't you
Okay.
also have to be the BoD president of Rivermore to accept bribes?
no, I believe it said anybody in any BoD member could accept. It was a fun read.
Thanks to Scoot, thanks to Andy and Ben and Ethan, we've already had a conversation about this. I dropped into the notes, may vote, alternate to full member. The goal of this was Ethan now is potentially going to have 2 positions on the BoD. This conversation has been had in the Discord, so it is public knowledge. I think there should be a pathway for Athena to become a full voting member. I'm going to let Andy and Ethan and Ben take this over because they already hashed it out.
All right. So what I read is that as has been pointed out by many people over the recent history, we have problems in our corpora, which is in the process of being worked on. But
I wrote a perfect document.
The crux of it is that a person can't have 2 votes on the board. You'd think that would mean that if they were getting another position that is also included in the board members, they would have to leave their current position. Our corpora doesn't say that, but I think just to be clean, so we should have Sebastian at the very least step down as vice president, and Ariana would then step in as a full member.
Athena.
Sorry, Athena.
That's all.
There's a lot of A names.
Okay. Andy.
Alexandria.
It's section 10.1.
I'm lazy.
Yeah, as pointed out in this section, it's very interesting because the qualifications for being a voting member are just like, or to be a board of directors member, you just have to be a voting member, go through the election, and then you get elected. And it says in 10.1.2 that the board of directors is the monarch, the prime minister, and then 5 elected members, and then an alternate may be elected. And then when it's talking about the alternate's powers in 10.1.4, it talks about that if a standard board member is unavailable, the alternate can step in and do the vote, fill their vote. 10.1.5 says no person may hold more than 1 vote on the board. It doesn't say more than 1 position. It just says more than 1 vote. And then in 10.1.7, it says should the membership of the board fall below 5, then the alternate will become a full member and the election shall be held to fill the vacant seats. Well, it says in 10.1.2 that the board of directors is the monarch, the prime minister, and then 5 elected members. And then 10.1.7 says the membership of the board, which is actually the 5 members. And so that's 7 plus an alternate of 8. So we're not falling below 5, no matter what's happening here. So 10.1.7 kind of doesn't apply. But the rest of 10.1.7 is if the board of directors falls below 5, the alternate will become a full member, and then an election shall be held to fill the vacant seats until January. So that's like a thing. And so the question comes down to, clearly with 10.1.5, where it says no person may hold more than one vote, the only way to ever have gotten that is to do exactly what I did because I'm a troublemaker, which is be elected to the board of directors and then either become prime minister or monarch, and then that would give you potentially 2 votes. But it doesn't give clear guidance on what happens. So obviously I would only ever get 1 vote. The board would still be above 5 members. My proposal to this is that I'll take over the monarch vote here. We let the alternate vote, and we can rearrange the offices of the board if for vice president and all of that if we want to, because this also solves the problem of that in November when I stop being the monarch, because I'm not planning to run for a second term yet. When I stop being the monarch, then it's like, would I be removed from the board or still be removed from the board? Am I not a part of the board? What exactly happens there? So that's what the discussion needs to have happened.
If I was going to be monarch in the middle of the year, at the end of the year, I wouldn't personally want to be removed from the board of directors. So it seems unfair to be like, okay, Ethan, thanks for stepping up and being monarch. You don't get to be a part of the board in November and December. And so there's nothing in the corpora that says you have to be removed. There's nothing that says that we even have to replace you. So it's just this weird catch-22.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I'd point out is that it says the board of directors is comprised of the monarch, the prime minister, and 5 elected members. So the monarch and prime minister don't count as elected members at that point, which is kind of where the actual conflict comes from here, really.
Yeah, but so the board is composed of 7 members, which is why, and again, it's because the corpora is terrible. So the board is composed of those 7 members, and then 10.17 only applies if the board has less than 5. So you'd actually have to have 3 people fall out of the board of directors before 10.17 would even happen, which is just ridiculous.
In a making sense, I would treat that as the 5 elected members, and if one of them is low. But yes.
So how do we resolve this? I think, and please somebody correct me if I'm wrong, and this is something that I did not come up with. Ethan, Ben, and Andrew came up with it. Can we hold a majority vote to give Athena voting rights until November when Ethan potentially stops being monarch? Is that within our grasp of power?
Sounds to me like that would be a modification to the corpora, and to me, the easiest way is just for Ethan to step down. And he just sadly wouldn't be able to come back in October.
Okay, so
that was my idea, but it's unfair to Ethan.
So are we required to maintain an alternate? Is that something the corpora and or the 501c requires?
No,
we don't have to have an alternate at all.
Cool. So then at that point, what we would say is, hey, Athena, we need you to step up as no longer an alternate, but a permanent member of the board. And then when Ethan is no longer the monarch, hey, Athena, you don't have to be a permanent member of the board now. You can go back to being an alternate. Sounds simple enough to me. Is that contradicting anything? Is that breaking corpora rules?
Well, except there's no way to
reinstate
it. It gets weird in the corpora to do that. But I mean, the real truth is, depending on how we schedule the November the November board meeting, like Sebastian might miss 1 meeting, even if he did fall off the board entirely.
Yeah.
Could we not very reliably have Sebastian step down, treat it as if the board needs to have an election, and rely on Westmarch to not put anybody up for that election until November?
No, the problem is we're not triggering anything that requires an election at all, even if Sebastian stepped down entirely.
Yeah,
but that would allow Ethan to run in November.
Oh, so you
just for us to have another election the following January?
It says when the alternate takes office, you have to run an election to fill.
Very specifically, I'll read the whole wording of 10.17. Should the membership of the board of directors fall below 5, the alternate will become a full member, and an election shall be held to fill the vacant seats until January. So if I step down, and we're going to read it as the 5 is really the 5 elected members, not the 5 of the elected members plus monarch and prime minister. So if I would step down, that would mean the board had 4. That would automatically mean that the alternate steps into that position, and next month we have an election. I don't know to fill what position on the board because alternate isn't required, but we're having an election.
However,
there's no vacant seats to be filled.
The monarch can also continuously put off elections.
Okay, that is like
we also have more than 5, even if you step down, because the monarch and the prime minister do count as members of the board.
Yeah.
So I think we are fine if Ethan just steps down, and we'll deal with this again in November. I motion to table this until November.
Until January. Like that, there's no like partial step down. What I'm proposing is because there's nothing that requires me to give up the vote. What's happening here is we're really triggering closer to 10.1.4, which is the alternative member of the board shall be able to vote when another board member is absent, which effectively is saying Sebastian the vice president is absent, Sebastian the monarch is present. That would give Athena the vote through November until Vice President Sebastian shows up. I also get that this argument is all completely ridiculous because then it also technically I'm saying me, the board member, is missing for 6 months.
In which case we vote to remove you.
Yes, but I'm actually physically present. So
I think by far the easiest way is you just step down and you get to miss the December.
That is exactly what the conversation was going to be. However, because Ethan would miss out on 2 board meetings, we tried to find another pathway. That was the whole point of this conversation.
But no, we can't get rid of our current Kapora because it's the best.
Well, that's the other thing is in November, it's possible that this may not even be a conversation. We'd be under a completely new Kapora by November. So
and new bylaws.
Under your proposed Corpora, will there still be a problem?
And then the proposed Kapora, the board of directors rules are followed by the articles of incorporation, which will happen when we become a 501c3. So it's actually possible that this will be a different issue even sooner than that, whenever we file our 501c3 paperwork and get new 501c3 bylaws that will direct the board of directors on how to behave.
Which will be filed by Memorial Day, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Wait.
So
I motion to remove Ethan from the board of directors effective the end of this meeting.
Okay.
Can I second? I want to second this.
Oh, you're
Jesus
a troublemaker.
Christ.
Effective the end of this meeting.
I mean,
okay.
It sounds like we all have the same, what we want to happen. We're just trying to figure out the legal nicety to make it work. Is that correct?
Yes. Basically, there's if Ethan steps down, the current Kapora says, great, he stepped down. Do we need to replace him? No. We just move on without a vice president, technically. And Athena, technically, would still just be an alternate. I would love it if we could find a pathway to get Athena to be a voting member and potentially move her to vice president. But the Kapora says nothing about how to do that.
Can we?
The alternate will become a full member. So, yeah, I motion to remove Ethan as a member of the board of directors, effective at the end of this meeting. And second, I make a motion for Athena to be our vice president.
I motion that we consult one of the lawyers in our kingdom to see the most effective way to go about this and table this discussion until such a time that we can talk to the lawyers.
And not to be a troublemaker, I'm not actually sure the board of directors has the power to remove a different board of directors member.
I rescind my motion and second Spencer's motion.
Like, I get what you're going for, but I'm not actually sure we're allowed to do that.
You do have the monarch and a PM present, though, so we could always just ban Ethan from holding the office of vice president of the BoD.
And 10.1.9 implies that we can remove members of the board of directors, at least under some circumstances.
We have used that in the past, and we chose special situations giving consideration to allow them to stay. As far as I know, I haven't seen us ban anybody, but I don't know.
All right. Well, it's not a problem for this meeting. It's a problem for next meeting. And regardless, Athena will end up voting next meeting.
Unless we have a quorum, which we likely will, to be fair.
All right. This is the problem for next meeting. I motion to table this for now.
All right.
Just
All right,
give
so
me a hat. I swear I'll wear the hat.
we're trying.
Or you could just second my
'cause it's
motion,
just like-
Ben, which
I
also
second,
included
did.
tabling.
I second the Monarch's motion.
Sweet.
Because I was gonna say, like, the biggest problem with me stepping down is just that it automatically triggers an election to fill missing positions. I just don't know the missing position because
It doesn't trigger because we still have 5.
okay,
Am
like that
I
may
wrong?
just be the answer because depending upon when we hold the November board of directors meeting, one fun thing about being the summer monarch is I get to decide when both end drains are, both the summer
Yep.
end drain and the winter end drain. So I could set the November end drain to be like the 30th of November, which means it would capture the board of directors meeting would obviously have already happened that month, and then I would only be missing December. And
Or you
I
could
could live
enjoy
without a
2
vote for
months
1
off.
month, right? It's like maybe that is the right way to do it. Is I just step down, we promote Athena, I will wear the shiny hat for.
And we could copy how some of in our articles of corporation, we could copy how some of the other kingdoms do it, where the prior monarch gets a seat on the BoD.
But you know what's fun about this? We've already tabled this, and it's not
Yeah.
my problem. So we can.
Well, I
move
can
on.
step down at any time.
Next.
Okay.
Okay, we are moving on. We are tabling this as it has no answer, unfortunately. The next one, we have had Feast of the Gods, we've had Dark Shore, we've had other independent events. Does the BoD want to create a layout or a template of what to expect from events before approving? What I'm alluding to here is, do we want to make a fill out this form if you're submitting a contract for us to review? Something that's easy for autocrats, to make it easier for them to submit to us what we need, like insurance contracts, rental contracts, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Like a bid?
Basically.
I bet it should look
Like-
something like a bid.
Like what's in chapter
You
20
have a
of the
bid
proposed
template.
Kapora?
There is a bid template that already exists
There is a bid
on
template.
CAM card.
But I'm talking, do we want to make an SOP for what the board of directors wants to see? Or do we want to use just say the bid form on thank you, Jody, the bid form on CAM card, that suffices?
I would love if there was like a wiki page or something like that that explains the bid form, because we do get a lot of questions about how to fill it out, and certain common questions would be great if it was a wiki page or a companion document or something like that.
Also, I don't believe that the bid covers things like how to submit approval from the BoD for insurance and contracts and
Yeah.
all of that. So if we wanted a supplementary, the
a
extra
supplemental.
document that would be useful to an autocrat going forward, that would be wise. So
This would
I
make a
would
great
be for
appendix
I would be
to our
for
corpora.
doing that.
It would also be a really awesome thing for, say, a council of autocrats to help us write.
Yes, I think there's a lot of positive that would come from making things more streamlined for bids. The template that I saw for Feast of the Gods was not user-friendly, to say the least. And I think there's a lot of positive work that can be done there to make things easier for people.
Is that why there's no bid?
Jody says she's going to do it. All in favor of Jody doing it?
Aye.
Aye.
We're so fast to
Dame
approve other
Raven
people
doing work again. Jody says she may be able to help with the. Thank you, Jody, for being here, by the way. Okay. Does anybody want to talk about the bids, the bid forms, or anything of that nature at this point in time?
I will
That's
say
big.
at
We got
some
some.
point I could see the bid form being updated. I was looking through it just the other day as I was writing up my big monarchy posting, and there were some areas that are a bit dated, but I don't think that's necessarily a board of directors thing to handle.
Awesome.
If you
Oh my-
guys, sorry, I just unmuted myself. I am
Hi.
more than happy to, I am more than happy to help with what do you need to do as an autocrat? What are the forms that I have previously had to submit? What are the forms for at least what I have experience with the Monterey Parks Department? And all of that, I can help make whatever you guys need for that.
Sweet.
I mean, because I've used the Westmarch bid form. I've worked with the Monterey County Parks Department and their forms. I probably can figure out if we hold events at different sites, what their forms would be. Payment arrangements, Thistledown and I have been working with that. You know, credit cards and fees versus checks and kind of more personal payments and what that means. So I would be more than happy to help with that.
I love it. That would be super great.
That's all I got. I'm going to mute myself again now. Bye.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. I apologize for the delay. I'm trying to find the message for about that Aria Saltis was sent over, but it was sent over on Facebook Messenger, and I'm the worst at Facebook Messenger.
Was it from Kaya?
It was from Victoria Kathleen.
Okay. So you click the little bubble and then you type in Victoria. And her
I
name should
did,
pop
but
up.
they did some update, and now the message just doesn't seem to be there. I'm clicking on the chat from Victoria, and it's not there.
Okay.
About a month ago, Facebook did weird things with their messenger stuff and syncing
Yeah.
and old messages, and
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm running across. So I'm trying to figure out how to resolve that, and I apologize for the delay, everybody.
All right.
What kind of summary do you have for us?
The summary that I have, Arrayus Saltis, because everybody is very busy right now within Arrayus Saltis, what they would like to do is schedule a date. Oh, I found it. Yay.
Cool.
Okay. Sorry for the delay. Okay. We don't have a specific timeline yet. I apologize. I'm actually work-related stuff. So my brain has been a bit elsewhere. My hope is to schedule a date for 2025 January so we won't overlap with any other events or holidays. It allows some of our seasonal players the chance to be available, but I haven't confirmed yet with other interested salties. Would that time frame be okay if it works with our folks?
So,
Sure.
January
So they're saying that they want to
25th
start
is
their
what I
park
heard?
up again.
No, it's not that they want to start their park up again. It's that they want to hold a big event, from my understanding, like a
This
send off.
this is the
I see.
response.
they want to use up their money, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
They talked about
That's a
forming
long
Aria-
time
so
from now.
a large number of Aria Saltis members got absorbed into Belial Peaks, so we're decently familiar with them. A lot of them, they kind of scattered to the four winds. They ended up wanting to form an Aria Saltis household and do like a big event or something like that as like a send off to Aria Saltis, and buy belt favors for the household, things like that, to kind of use up their money. That's what at least I've been told.
Yes, I spoke with Kaya and I spoke with Victoria Kathleen, and this is the response they were given. Both of them did reference the household as opposed to restarting the park. So in terms of an inventory, I've been told that Victoria is the one who has the box, the cash box, so to speak. And this is the latest response, and this response was from last week. Does anybody have anything against this? Is there any additional forward movement we should make?
I was under the assumption that the money was to be taken by the kingdom sooner than that. I'm not opposed to it like on a personal level, but I assumed that it was not supposed to take that long.
It is not supposed to take that long. How much money is in their coffers do we know?
How much money is in the coffers of AS?
Because I'm of the opinion that if it's under a certain dollar amount, I don't fucking care. Just let them throw their stupid party whenever they want. Like, the kingdom has money. It's not a thing that I'm gonna throw a bitch fit about.
But if it's a lot of money,
But if it's a lot of money, we might have to have a discussion.
I was told it's under $400, but I'm not sure. I don't have receipts or anything. That was just a number that was thrown at me when I asked.
For sure. Yeah, if it's about that, I don't look. I'm not gonna have the hat for much longer. So I don't know how much my opinion matters at this point, but let
Lame
the kids
duck.
have their let the kids have their fucking pizza party. Who the fuck cares?
Now, random question. What would happen if they restarted meeting right now?
So the actual part of the corpora that triggers in here is 9.8 under termination of land status, which is if a group
Right.
dissolves or agrees to cease meeting or fails to meet for a 6-month period, which Aria Saltis has, they're supposed to transfer all their money back to Westmarch, and then the funds will be held for a period of not to exceed 2 years. So we as the kingdom would just hold on to it with a little bookmark saying Aria Saltis funding.
So
And
we just
then
need to
if
say
they,
we're
like,
holding
restart
on to it,
tomorrow.
and then we give it
Yeah,
back to
if
them
they
in
restarted
January.
tomorrow, and they main regular park days for a 3-month period, then they get all that money back and all their
And when were they wanting to hold their party?
January.
Great. I mean, could we just tell them to hold ANS meetings like every other week for the next 8 months? I mean,
Just on
surely
paper.
somebody has a house, get
Yeah.
together, say, hi, we're working on AmpGuard stuff. That's all that's needed for a meeting. Like, can we just resolve this with words instead of awkwardly telling them, no, you have to give us your money? I mean, obviously, maybe they'd have to give it to us for 3 months, but
I can message and say, hey, can you guys hold an ANS night once a month until 2025?
every 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll put
And send it
says
to
that-
Victoria. She'll understand. Like, look, legal shit. Just say that you're hosting ANS.
Or literally
And
get together. I mean, like, have fun as two people doing stuff. It's not that hard.
Yeah, I think the big problem for them, the reason they aren't actually meeting, is that they've scattered all over the place. Like
Some
some
are
of them
in-
now live in Bakersfield
some-
and stuff.
Which is why ANS works great, because digital ANS
there-
is part of how we got a barony.
Are there two people that live in the same house?
Yeah,
that
I
could
think
advertise a meeting?
Victoria lives with Fate. I think they're married. Or if not married,
So-
they're together.
Like, advertise it as a meeting. They meet together. They work on ANS. That's their sign-ins. Like, it's all that's needed.
Yeah, I get where you're going
If they-
for it. I am a bit
if they
concerned
get
about
enough-
the optics of that.
Is that okay?
If they get enough people to, or if they meet long enough to get voting eligible, then they could even like have a vote on what to do with money.
Yeah. I do know that we've had, so just as a political thing, I do know that we've had a concern that some people were effectively using dead parks in order to farm credits that they otherwise would not have been able to get in order to qualify for office, which is part of the reason that all of this stuff with Aria Saltis and Amir Senkin popped up, is people would be like, oh, we're going to XYZ Park today. We said we showed up. We signed in a sign-in sheet with like me and my husband, and therefore we've met attendance credits in order to qualify for office.
That sounds like a red thing that happened.
So
I mean, we've done that at SG, not like actually meeting, but yeah.
yeah, so like I get it as like that would be a way to work around it. For me, I had basically the same opinion as Scorch on this one, which is I have no problem if we say, okay, the kingdom's holding the money, we're keeping it at this person's house until January, and then in January they're going to turn over all the assets to the prime minister then, after they've spent down whatever money they have remaining, the extra $7.13 they have left in the coffers or whatever is what they'll turn over to the kingdom, and they're done.
Another
The
easy
problem
way
is neither myself nor Thistledown will be in the Monarch or PM position in January.
Another option is, so the kingdom takes control of it because that's what's supposed to happen, and then we just say all thing Aria Saltis is holding a meeting in January. We're setting aside that exact amount of money for an event.
I mean, it's a small enough amount of money it could come directly out of monarchy discretionary funds.
Perfect. As long as that gets
But
designated
I
and written
can't
down somewhere.
speak for the next monarch.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. As long as it gets written down that, say, you as the monarch are pulling it out for X month.
Oh, you say like do it as like a contract between the board of directors and Aria Saltis household?
Oh no, I was just saying, like you, Ethan, as King Sebastian, say, I am spending $400 on
In
Arya
January.
Saltis.
Okay.
This $400 is earmarked and has been given to somebody, and here's a receipt.
Yeah, actually, we could do that now. Hey, Scorch, you want to just handle that the next 3 days?
I
I don't know
completely
if Scorch
zoned
hasn't
out,
already used.
but
You know,
sure.
basically, we can say that you are now approving a bid by Arya Saltis to spend their coffers because it's monarch discretionary funds. You can
Yep.
just spend it now.
Yep. Let's
Sure.
do that
Okay,
one.
cool.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Okay.
It's a small enough amount of money. I don't care.
Yeah.
Do I need
I would still like to know the actual amount, but yeah.
Do I need to put that in the ledger or?
Do you?
You need to put it in the ledger once we get the amount from Arya Saltis.
Yes.
Okay.
I will report this in the next meeting.
Yeah. So basically, you'd see an influx of $312 and an outflux of $312 counted against monarch discretionary spending for the month.
Hooray. I did it
Yay.
all by myself.
Perfect. So we're going to toss it into the running ledger and do the donation and the fancy fun stuff. It'll be discretionary spending and the chief stands alone. Sound good?
Cool. Sounds good.
Jazz
It's better
hands.
with me. Thank you.
Okay. Obviously, we have a very big event coming up. If you are watching this YouTube video, tell all your friends to go to Dark Shore. Everybody that's in this video, tell your team and your parks and your fighting companies to go to frickin' Dark Shore.
Are you going
That's
to Dark Shore
everybody.
Milan?
Say that again?
Are you going to Dark Shore Milan?
No, of course not. Anyways, so now I bought my ticket. I bought the meal plan. I got my ticket and meal plan. Set.
In separate purchases from separate emails. Thanks.
Did I do separate?
Yes.
How did I do separate?
You're talented, I guess.
I'm sorry. Anyways,
Milan was simply testing our payment systems to make sure that they worked.
you're welcome. You are so welcome. Okay. Is there anything that we need to discuss about payments or contracts or anything of that nature? Athena, why can't you go?
I just had to spend like $13.50 on was in $1,350 on my pets for vet bills, so I can't miss work anymore. I don't get
Can I
paid
just
time off.
buy your ticket? Oh, you can't miss work. Oh, okay.
Yeah, if
no,
I
it's
miss 3 days of work, which is what I would have to do to make it happen, and then Toodles misses 2 days of work, and gas and admission and food, we're looking at $1,000. I can't do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm very sorry.
how much discretionary funds do I get?
Oh my gosh, Scorch.
10%.
I know that number.
I will
I
add
think it's
that
about 1,000.
Bear decided to be able to kind enough to help us out with vet bills in honor of Sir Uric and Nikita, who has also helped us with that in the past. So much love to Bear. Of course, he is consistently just an absolute sweetheart, and I'm so grateful. I'm going to make that public record.
Bear's the man. We all think it.
Eric's always around in spirit.
And raise one up for Sir Uric, the original Bear. Okay, so we're going to move on from the Dark Shore, unless anybody wants anything to say about that coming up the first weekend of May.
Also on Dark Shore, the site payment check was mailed out over a week ago. When we talked to them today, it hasn't arrived yet, so Monday is going to be interesting.
I hate everything you just said. All right.
I'm going to tell you right now that I bet you they have received it and it's in their mail bin and they just haven't gone through it yet. There's some admin associate that has a pile of mail on their desk and they haven't gotten to it yet. That's probably what really happened. Did we send it certified mail or anything like that with tracking?
No, that was...
Why?
We better do that next time.
I thought we could pay on their webpage.
No. They
I
require
distinctly
you
remember
to...
that they require a physical check.
Yeah. That's been part of the problem why it hasn't been taken care of sooner, because they require it either hand delivered or in the mail.
Jody brought in that we can pay with a card, but there is a fee. So maybe on Monday we could potentially consider paying with a card and then canceling the check. I will leave that in the hands of the monarchy to make a decision on that, of course.
Hey, Sebastian,
Yeah.
tag you're it.
Hey, I'm not it until the 3rd.
Nuh-uh,
You've been
tag you're it.
assigned. It's been delegated.
Yeah, I'm gonna delegate to the vice president of the board of
Oh,
directors
gosh,
to
dang
handle
it.
this for me.
Seconded.
I mean,
Ben, second
you're all
round.
missing the fact that it's really probably a prime minister thing.
Yeah, Jody and I are working on it.
Yeah.
Thank you as always for doing the behind the stuff work, Jody. I always
James-
find that your hand is in it, so thank you. Okay.
James, you have a card now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so, but I mean, if you need me to do it in the middle of the day, I can do it too. So either way.
Okay, we have an update on the CA AmpGuard update on payments and the like. Sir Azus or David Zucker has a lot of positive things to say about the CA AmpGuard website. He wrote me a wall of text. I was hoping that he might be here to discuss it, but he is a very busy individual, of course. I'm going to do a brief. Do you want me to just paste it and y'all can read it? Or do you want me to just do a brief run through?
I would like both.
All right, here we go. I'm going to copy all this right now. Okay. I'm going to do a new thing here. All right. That's not how I want to do it. What is the layout? What the heck? Too much stuff going on here.
That's quite a statement.
Hey, view. There we go. Read mode. Yeah, it's a lot. Why is it? There we go. All right. So in general, we put too much info on Facebook and Discord. Enough people avoid social media so they don't see payment info or other stuff. CA AmpGuard gets past that issue. For the fundraising auction trial, which by the way was great. I bid and did not win, which I was frustrated about. I didn't get a notification. Otherwise, I would have continued bidding. So we need to put notifications out there for people who make bids. I think that would be a good idea.
I'd like to oppose that motion based on I'm the one you were bidding against.
You got the healing token? I'm coming for you. Oh man.
Come up to Wyvern Spur.
I will. Okay. I think at present getting something set up will be run, blah, blah, blah. CA AmpGuard sends direct to Westmarch PayPal. I absolutely love that we're using PayPal. We also have access to Zelle through our Wells Fargo account. Awesome. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff here. Do you want me to read it or do you want me to just email it to y'all or drop it in the Discord?
Send the document, but otherwise summarize it.
Okay, I'm going to do a quick summarize right now. The summarize is for fundraising, there were some glitches, but he's very excited about it. For events, chatting a little with Olana for prepay at gate, she can offer credit card payments and people can pull up CA AmpGuard on their phone to make payments right at the gate and then show their email. I'm going to bust out the chat here. Yes, I will drop it in the Discord and I'll put the document in the Facebook so everybody can get it. Payment integration. PayPal was easy to set up. Other options exist, but they are a hassle. And while they may have lower fees, PayPal is easy. Please stick with it. Let's see here. There were a few glitches in getting set up for CA AmpGuard. But
hold a second. I want to add an addendum to the PayPal was easy. Also, when it comes to dispersing payments to the autocrats, such as I did today, if I'm sending from the PayPal funds instead of from the bank, there is not a fee to disperse them. So that's nice.
All right. So Bear, please put in the notes, use PayPal.
Copy that. Use PayPal. Period.
Okay, ongoing hiccups, not many. Things like 3-month prior prepay for a big discount, 2-month prepay for a small discount takes a small amount, but sort of annoying management. If this continues over the years, autocrats might be able to take over. Short term, it's me and it's annoying. So constant updates by David on the IT team can be frustrating. Those blasted processing fees, not sure if there's a way to account for them so the prime minister doesn't have to tally those to report to the Krats for their budget. Random daydreams. There's a marketplace module that I can add to CA AmpGuard. He wants to add it. I think that's a wonderful idea. We could do a crafters area where St. Kaya sells tunics and Sir Azus sells bracers. Westmarch could sell merch on the CA AmpGuard webpage. There's a lot more. I am very much compacting the information because, as you saw, it's a ton, but I will get it all to you at the end of this meeting. Is that fine?
Sure.
All right, I'll just do save as right now. And the AmpGuard, CA AmpGuard stuff. I'll drop it in the Discord right now for everybody to review, if they wish. Here we go. I wonder if I can just drop it right here too. Aha! Da-da-da. Hey, look at that. Da-da-da. Boom. Okay. So David had a lot of positive things to say about it, is what the whole point was. Obviously, the auction went very well, and we should prioritize making payments strictly through the CA AmpGuard site instead of using third-party stuff. That's the whole point here. Okay, smart waiver discussion. I have been trying to make an event waiver. It's something I was kind of excited about to make things easier after we had feedback from Darkshore, Feast of the Gods, and Out that it was lengthy. Athena, do you have anything to say about that, the waiver experience that you experienced at Out?
I wasn't too terrible at Out personally. Of course, folks don't always wish to include their personal information, but honestly, a lot of it was abbreviated at the time with, per the approval of the autocrat, hey, don't worry about your address or these sections and so forth. What we need is these items. But if we don't have to give that disclaimer, that certainly helps. Less conversations for the incoming volunteers for relief shifts and so forth.
Awesome. A valid legal form of ID is required to be presented to the land representatives accepting the waiver at the time of signing. So my whole goal and dream of making an event waiver that was easier to submit by removing the need for a ID is completely scuppered here. So I have stopped working on the event waiver that I kept dropping into the chat. Tragically, we are at a halt on that.
I will say, though, your
Yes.
original goal of let's make it less information required actually does comply with the original. Well, my camera's not going to catch that one well. Cool. Thank you, background auto. The original waiver that we actually had, it only had the signature, the date of signature. If you're under 18, a parent signature and date. The name, like the mundane name of the person, their persona name, and then an email address if you wanted to be added to the org. That was like all that was really required in the waiver. It was like these 5 or 6 things, and then there was some part at the bottom for the PM to fill out, and that was where they checked, yes, I've seen an ID and things like that. So we could very much simplify the smart waiver to just be 6 or 7 questions, and then show your ID to the person at the gate. They check that, yes, this person in fact did it. They just have a Excel spreadsheet or something like that that's printed out. And then that's all we would need. And yes, we don't need to capture address and all these other things. It doesn't make any sense.
There is an opportunity to make a Darkshore smart waiver, a Feast of the Gods smart waiver, an Out smart waiver. I'm just trying to find a way to make it accurate.
Why even make them event specific? Why? I don't see.
Don't we require them to be signed at every event anyway?
Sure, just make a
There's
general
a way to
Westmarch waiver and
flag
have
them,
everybody sign it.
and that makes more sense than creating a specific waiver.
That's what I was, and I probably misspoke, but yeah, it's all about flagging them. It's like if Athena is running gate as she did so well at out, she could just have the smart waiver for out pulled up instead of the smart waiver for a brand new person pulled up to make it more streamlined.
They're
for
the same waiver.
Let's say that again.
They're the same waiver. I'm confused.
At this very moment, they're same waiver. My dream of making just an event waiver is what I was alluding to.
Yeah, what I'm saying
I'll
is
talk to you later about how to categorize them. You can create basically a tag that'll auto apply. You can create like a kiosk and whatnot. So you don't have to create a separate waiver.
Yeah, what
you
I'm
don't
saying
even need
is
a kiosk.
They would have the exact same information. Like I don't see what we would cut from the standard waiver to make once we simplify the waiver. I agree it's too complicated right now. Once we simplify it down to like the 6 or 7 things we actually need, then at that point it should be super fast to do an event. It should be just as difficult as filling out a standard waiver, like a paper one.
And we're talking about the exact same thing. I apologize.
Yeah.
If we're going to keep the long, lengthy waiver, I was trying to make one separate for just events to be easier for people to clerk in. But if we're just going to redo the waiver, I'm all about it. Absolutely all about it.
I think that's the right way to do it. Let's make it easy. Let's make it easy for the land prime ministers. Let's make it easy for the events. Just grab the bare bones information we need. Don't need anything else beyond that.
Wonderful.
So on just an honest question, why do we need to have people sign new waivers at events?
It is sign a new waiver every 2 years, and catching people at an event where we have 2 of them. I keep hearing 2 years, so I could be wrong. Whatever.
I believe the
however.
chorus is 3.
Whatever. However, it's a good way to catch people to make sure that they are waivered. That's pretty much it.
And if they're coming from outside, like if they're from another kingdom, for example, we get a lot of people who show up the first time. It's just simpler.
Sure, and that's one thing, but like me, I have a waiver in Smart Waiver. I go to out. Why would I need to sign a new waiver for out if I just signed a waiver like 3 months ago at SG?
Because people haven't had access to the list of who signed smart waivers, which we can fix.
But that's different now.
No, that's the other option, because you're right. We could, in theory, if we had an Excel spreadsheet or something like that printed out with every person approved in the kingdom, and then you just be like, you show up and just be like, hey, I'm Andy. And we just look it up and go, yep, Andy's good, check, done. Like, we could do that. We just haven't had the infrastructure to do that. And so it's always been, here, just sign this piece of paper. Everybody gets signed. We all know you're now good for another 3 years. Problem solved. It also makes it easier because we're already having to look at IDs for wristbands. So, it just kind of got all clumped together. But yeah, you're right. We don't actually have to sign waivers at events.
We now if we do have access. I apologize, Andy. We now have all access to the Smart Waiver database and can search by name or birth date from our mobiles anywhere that has internet access.
Yep.
And like every single event that we try to do this and have everybody sign a waiver, we're going to bust our Smart Waiver minimum payment amount. So like, it makes more sense to spread it out over the several months instead of just do it like every single event.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think we just need to standardize gate a bit better, so that way we're not having people really prepared at Darkshore, but then the next gate person at Feast of Gods doesn't have access to that type of thing or whatever else it is. And I think that just comes down to writing better autocrat guides and gate guides and things like that. And hey, the day before the event, print out this information so you have physical copies or whatever that ends up looking like. Because then, we could just get rid of that whole headache. No reason to do it.
So if I could take some time.
Yes. Floor is yours, Ben.
So I reached out to the monarchy of Everland. All of them got back to me, I believe. Most of them gave me an email with which to create an account. However, not all of them responded to that email in time. So I have 9 of the 19 kingdoms with access to Smart Waiver. And there's a handful of others that did send me an email address, but then did not accept the invite in time before that expired.
Did they know when you first messaged them that it does expire? Because that was
No.
it was an issue with me.
Nope.
Okay. Well, message them again. Be like, hey, just so you know,
Yeah.
this does expire.
Um,
I'm gonna send it to
So
you
they
in
are
like
all
10
aware
minutes.
of that, and yeah, I will. I think it's
Okay.
3 days or something, but yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I was saying
Only
I'm going
3
to send it
days?
to you in the next 10 minutes. Go check it now
Okay,
so
yeah.
we can make sure it gets done. Is more what I was getting at.
And this is definitely something that I would love. As I said, I want to use Westmarch IT assets to better help overall the kingdom. And this is exactly one of those things. I would love it if we set up actual like land email addresses for everybody for all the
Most
parks.
of them gave me a land email address.
That's great. That's even better. And just get all of this sorted so that way we don't have to send it to people's personal emails and things like that.
So once we become a 501c3, either Microsoft or Google, either one, will give us several free like business grade emails.
And so we could have SSD at westmarch.org.
Yeah, that'd be even better.
Yeah.
Depending on how many emails they give us, theoretically, yes.
I mean, probably it would end up being at camcard.com, but whatever. If we already have a domain, why would we,
Yeah.
not use it for emails?
I can probably print out the Smart Waiver database for Darkshore.
Not a
I
terrible
think it's
idea.
big enough that it's would be more worth it to get whoever's at gate to be able to search it.
You can download it as a searchable file onto a tablet.
That sounds like a better idea.
It does, but I like having paper backups.
Is there a way to
Sure.
have just a list
you
of
insist.
each name rather than like a full ass copy of every single one?
Yeah, if I can just
So I
get a
can
list of
export
names,
the
that's
data.
all we
Perfect.
need.
List of names, 10 out of 10. Send it.
Full send.
100% agree.
As long as it's not raining, please know, obviously, there was some weather issues at gate at some events. So that's something we do have to take into account is a
Okay,
digital backup can be very valuable.
King Scorch, while you're spending discretionary money, can we buy a laminator?
How much is a laminator,
I'm
Sebastian?
messing with you. We could just buy pocket sleeves for binders and it's all the same thing.
Or just go in the building that's like 5 feet away from where it usually is,
What? Crazy ideas. But yes, no, I hear what you're saying, Milan. There are problems with every option, but I think they're all able to be overcome.
I'm all about it. I really am. I don't see a problem with having paper copies. It's just some people are not going to have access to a printer, that sort of thing. As long as we know the digital option exists too. All right. Okay. There was obviously the North and South tournament situation. Is it resolved? And is there anything the BoD needs to cover about that? I don't think
That's
so.
not a BoD
that has
issue.
absolutely nothing to do with the BoD.
Perfect. I love it. We can move on. Where's the strike through? Yay. Okay. Athena, do you have an update on the DEI updated state mark for Westmarch conversion?
You sure do, because I just saw you pull it up. So I'd love if you would like to review it. We can read it out loud, whatever you want.
Athena has been kind enough to work on a DEI statement for the board of directors and for Westmarch in general. Everybody, please feel free to review this if you wish. Any comments that you'd like to talk about this, Athena?
My comment is that I tend to be very wordy, so my initial drafts tend to potentially be a bit too long and can be pared down. However, I enjoy it. This is taken where some pieces of the AmpGuard inclusivity statement, especially in the beginning, and I've taken some notes of other professional DE&I statements, but particularly I only have concerns for where we may need to edit this in the third paragraph of motions that we currently take, or basically the middle of if we feel like any of this presents any potential liability if we don't adhere to it. I don't know. That's all I had my thoughts on.
Thank you. You also dropped this into the chat. Please confirm if this is true or not. Waivers expire after 2 years or when your provided ID expires, whichever comes first. The reasoning I was given is we cannot confirm that it is still your name to be legally binding. Did you read that somewhere or anything of that nature?
That is old Maccabee lore.
What?
I am going to say that the waivers expire after 3 years as per the Capora. And
Yeah, let me-
I've
Oh, I'm
never
sorry.
heard.
That's on me about the numbers. Excuse me.
Okay, not a problem there.
So
Um,
I actually think that probably stems from when Misty Vale was a freehold.
Ah,
It was never the Westmarch rules, however. It was, I believe that there was a freehold corpora at some point that said 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
all right, I have never heard anything about the ID expiring. I cannot claim to know enough to truly answer that, but that would be really surprising if it was factually accurate.
Specifically, the sections that are relevant here are 347, which is waivers must be renewed every 3 years, counting from the date when the waiver was signed, and then that discarded waivers must be properly disposed of in a secure manner. And then there is, I think it's chapter 13, which covers the Westmarch waiver, which weirdly enough is not where this information is. In 13, it talks about the types of ID that are required.
If we
So
could
it's-
review that particular section for about what ID standards we need to adhere to.
Slash, do we even have to have ID? Why?
At
But
the time of signing,
that's a corpora question, not a BoD question.
Yeah, the answer quickly for you, Athena, is the signer must show valid legal ID.
Oh, okay, I see the argument because in theory it would not be valid after it expires, but not
But
something I don't think we would ever enforce.
Yeah, it just says that you have to show it. You know, it could expire tomorrow. It doesn't say anything about what to do with it tomorrow. It just says today you showed valid legal ID.
True, that's at the time of signing. Got it.
And then 347 just says it's good for 3 years.
So I think we can confirm that we don't have to be too concerned about that.
Yep.
All right. Back to the D, E, and I statement. I love here. We welcome that every person brings a unique perspective and experience to our game, and Westmarch takes the broadest possible view of diversity. I am a big fan of giving everybody a voice, as I've said for every freaking meeting. And this is great. Thank you very much for writing this. What can we do as a kingdom? Should we like make this an all thing to be like, yo, this is our DE&I statement? Can the monarch just be like, hey, this is it, we put it on CAM card? Or do we need to say anything? How can we make this our official statement as a kingdom?
not modifying the corpora. I'm not sure it requires a vote, but Sebastian.
So ideally what I would love to see is that every monarch basically just says, I still support this, as like another 6-month reminder of like, hey, we do this and we support it. We could, there's a weird thing of the like, we can put it up on CAM card, which just the monarch and directed IT committee like put it there. But it doesn't have any more teeth than any other document. We don't really have any document types outside of just the corpora and things we throw on CAM card.
Well, if
Complaint
we
handbook,
what's that, James?
like the complaint handbook.
Yes, an unofficial document like the COC handbook. And we have the safety statement that was released last August as well, which is also unofficial.
I want to actually point out the COC handbook is an official supplemental to the corpora, is the exact wording that was voted on.
Okay.
But there's no definition for that.
Correct, which is weird.
There's also internal issues with the handbook, like
Yeah,
you had pointed out.
The way I would handle it is I would just post it on our Facebook page as the monarch and just be like, this is our official statement for this reign. I encourage all future monarchs to reiterate this statement. That also means that every 6 months, like we're looking at, you know, if there needs to be an update or if there was a problem or something like that, we need to add clarity.
It also creates precedent.
Yes.
Could you just make every monarch reaffirm that at each event they go to?
Oh yeah, like a sworn affidavit when they take
I mean, the
office.
monarch could reaffirm it as often as they
I'm
wanted
going to put my
to.
hand on the ROP in front of the eyes of all Amtgarders who are present and do so solemnly swear under Peter LeGroux that I... What?
Under Peter LeGroux, you need to choose better.
I wouldn't recommend invoking Peter LeGroux. I know enough to know it's a little controversial.
Oh, no, absolutely. But it's
Yeah.
funny.
Yes, but yeah, I think that's the the right way to handle it now. Otherwise, we would have to like write an official form because then it would just be tradition. Otherwise, we'd have to write an official thing into like the Corpora, like when the monarch takes office, they must do this. But honestly, the way we could handle it as a BoD, because the monarch is also the head of the board of directors, like or the leader of the corporation, is we could have as part of our BoD laws of like as we turn over all the other contract stuff, change over that they sign a statement like this as well as part of the
This
taking of
does
office.
feel more like a BoD document than a kingdom document, in my opinions.
Yeah.
Like it should be included in our articles of incorporation.
Well, it would be an internal BoD document. Then part of the taking of office, you would sign off saying, yes, I agree, I've read and agreed to, you know, these 7 forms or whatever.
So how exactly is the safety statement handled? That's not something that we talked about is going to be sworn by every monarch.
The safety statement was written by me and presented to Kaya, who said that it could be posted as her statement.
So
Is
in
it
theory,
on
it's no
CAM card?
longer applicable?
I
Where
reaffirmed
is
it
this
upon
statement at?
I reaffirmed it upon taking office.
I see.
Mhm.
Where is the statement stored? Is it on CAM card?
It
I don't
is
see it.
on CA Amp Card and the Westmarch BoD.
I don't see it under CAM card.
I don't see it under CAM card either.
I am pulling it up right now. Affirmation.
It is on the CA or on the AMP wiki, Westmarch BoD, because Milan is great at adding documents to there.
It is not on the CA Amp Card. What the heck?
Blame Jesus for not making it on the transfer.
Yeah, it was not transferred over, but I'm not going to ask Azus. I'm not going to be like, Azus, what the heck? But
so I'm actually going to ask a slightly different question. Who are we protecting with this statement? Are we protecting Westmarch the corporation? Are we protecting the Westmarch the AmpGuard organization? Are we just listening to this as a hey, quick reminder, everybody who plays in Westmarch, like we don't accept, you know, violence and we don't accept discrimination in any way? Like, what is the purpose of this?
I asked for the DE. I asked for the DE and I statement for the same reason that I did the safety statement, and that was to cover our butts as a fledgling 501c3.
So
we needed this.
In that case, it sounds like it's a board document, and it should be in part of our like corporate internal documents rules. And we can post it on our Facebook and be like, we're following this. But that's how you would get the perpetuity of it, as you just say it's our internal corporate policies.
Which would be the articles of incorporation for the 501c3, which will be submitted. And I'll be including this DE&I statement with the BoD unanimous agreement, as we're going to have this, because the safety statement and the DEI statement will be required for the submission of the 501c3 documents.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
I motion to adopt this as an internal BoD document.
I second. Do we actually have to have a BoD vote on this?
This has to be unanimous.
When in doubt.
Yeah.
This has to be unanimous, unfortunately. So if anybody is against it, please speak up. Silence is not against, so we're golden.
What if I argue with my own document? Is that productive?
Then we will retask you to write it better.
Damn.
Okay, but what if I'm opposed to it?
Athena, you could definitely Mitch McConnell your own document if you wish.
No, I'm too tired. I'm not rewriting this.
All right. Perfect. Jody, the issue with only having 5 members, please let me know what I'm missing on that, because your input is always incredibly valuable. Has to be unanimous. Yeah. I guess technically
so when we vote, it has to be a majority, right?
Yes.
So when we've had 7 total members, a majority, what is 4?
Yeah.
But if we only have 5 members and we don't have those extras, then everyone has to agree. So that would be an advantage of having our previous discussion, having the additional bodies.
Yeah, it would be really nice if we could get Athena to be a voting member. I would like to, let's hope that in May, for our May BoD meeting, we come up with some type of solution for that. I hope that we do.
And I guess that would be my voice for whatever the corpora says. Do we have an all thing to get another member or two? Do we have all of the BoD president, vice president, treasurer, liaison, and secretary? Do we have all of those positions filled with, and then plus the 2 monarchy members?
Yes,
Correct.
and we have an alternate.
Yeah, I'm kind of like going back into the previous discussion, and I apologize, but for voting, that might be a consideration.
Yeah, so we are actually full up. We've got everybody. We've got all 7 members plus an alternate, which is the alternate's not even required by the corpora. It just says you may have an alternate. So we actually have everybody. So we're good on that front.
We've made the BoD the hip hop place to be.
Yep.
That's why I'm here, dude.
I know. You actually showed up a little late, but we have already voted Frankie and Jody as the new alternates when Athena becomes a voting member. So whether you like it or not, you're here. So congratulations.
Oh, okay, cool. I was like,
This is
wait,
why
is
we
there
don't-
another Jody? Okay.
This is why we don't give Milan the ability to write the corpora.
Wow. I'm right here. I mean, yes, but wow.
I'm good.
Okay, we're moving on to the next thing. Thank you very much, Athena. I'm going to ask Athena to post her DEI statement. Please put it on Westmarch letterhead before you post it, and please convert it to a PDF. If you need help with it, please let me know, but we'll go from there. Does that sound okay, Athena?
I'm okay with that in theory, but I don't understand what you mean by letterhead.
Never mind. I'll fix the document and send it to you to post.
Okay, just posting as a document to Westmarch rather than text-based.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll just
Totally
send you a
different
PDF
from
and you can upload
Buckethead.
it.
Okay.
Totally different from Buckethead.
All right. This was brought up in the March meeting to be a topic to discuss. Should we start looking for a new Dark Shore location? Liaison, how would you like to tackle this? And would
So I have been looking to find a more central location that I will agree that Borehaven, King City is central and that it inconveniences everybody equally the same, which I am not entirely in favor of. I've been looking for something in the Fresno area because then we would have a major airport for people out of Kingdom to fly into. But the sites that I found were still a 45-minute drive from the airport, which is about as bad as King City. So no, I have not found any place that is as good as King City for hosting a Dark Shore Fog event. For hosting day events, I have found lots of places. So no, we are stuck with King City as far as I can tell.
So may I say something?
No.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Leah had a site that she was looking at by San Luis Obispo that was French camp. And don't quote me on that, but it looked like a kind of a RV, not quite like a KOA site, but it had a kitchen and a building and RV sites and camping that I was briefly looking into, but then I defaulted to King City. So that might be something that I could provide information on for looking into. I know that Ilanthus has access to, I think it's her parents' site that she wanted to use for mid-rain a couple rains ago.
We've used it before. We used it 15 years
We
ago
did?
once. Yeah.
Okay, so there's that. As far as King City goes, the major issue this year has been the sewage. I have reached out to them, and repairing the sewage at the bathroom facility by the Dianza building has become a permit, major construction, a huge thing. So I think that the accessibility of the bathrooms there is up in the air. So that's really all that I have. There was research I did for like Boy Scout camps and other places, but they didn't have, you couldn't have alcohol there. So for Dark Shore, that would probably not be a thing. There was the Veterans Hall in Fair Oaks that we used for mid-rain for my knighting a couple of years ago when I was regent. They allow on-site camping. They have some RV access. They had like bathrooms and an inside bar and bathrooms and all of that. But that's probably not going to be really convenient for people from Southern California.
It's called Camp French and it's in SLO. I just dropped a link
Yep.
into the chat.
Yep, that's it.
Perfect. Every year there's something called the Great Western War, and it's North versus South California. It's held at the Buena Vista Aquatic Recreation Area, and you can see it's kind of right in the middle of San Diego and Sacramento. Not really, but close. There's no airports nearby. It's a 5-hour drive for me in San Diego. So it's probably about a 5 to 6 hour drive from Sacramento. It's in the middle. It's got all the kitchens and all the bathrooms and stuff. The only caveat is it's in the bleeping desert. It's by a lake, which is lovely, but it's hot. It's held in October and it's hot. I'm not gonna lie, but it's an easy drive from San Diego. So that's a place to maybe look into, the Buena Vista Aquatic Recreational Area, and you could hit up the SCA to find out how much they pay if you wanted.
So I've been doing things.
No, you?
Why
Yeah,
am I
no.
not surprised?
So a couple of years ago, I did the same thing everybody else here is kind of doing, which was I looked for a bunch of different places and like, or even like cheap property we could go out and like just purchase like for the kingdom, right? And just to host things on. And there's a bunch of problems. So I actually have just asked the kingdom to find us 4 new event sites for day events to try and like find out if any of these work. In addition, a couple of BoD meetings ago, there is a new fantasy fair standing up outside of San Luis Obispo in November. They have one of our members pretty heavily involved, and they would like AmpGuard to be a major set of their demonstrations and show off and do things. Trying to still get all of that information coordinated with them. I know that the person that we have coordinating with them, Ralph Stone, also known as Boric out of Seven Sleeping Dragons, that they have been working very closely with Fantasy Fair. They were negotiating insurance and things like this. The latest information I have from them is Fantasy Fair is negotiated with the city to get the event site. They are willing to let us use it for free as long as we work with Fantasy Fair to help them out run the fair and do things like that.
What city is this in?
It's outside of San Luis Obispo. I don't remember the exact park location. I forget which one it is.
Love it.
And
that's fine.
Yeah, so the city is going to require us to have our own insurance, but as we've seen from the most recent insurance bids for us to do stuff like this, it's about $200 to $300 for us to do that. Free event site. Lunch would be probably provided by Fair Venue Food if we wanted to. Then we could bring our own dinners or do something else like that. Obviously, all of that would have to be scheduled by the autocrats and everything else. Whole bunch of information to try and figure out there. So that could potentially just be another event that we're looking at there. But I'm also really hoping that the 3 or 4 event bids we get in each region, that we're going to get bids that are pointing out new event locations that we've been looking up or overlooking for the last several years, because people always seem to know their local pace that they drive by all the time and they go, that would be a great place for an event. And I'm hoping that they will send it in as an event bid and that we can at least evaluate it and see whether or not it's good. So that's what I've been doing.
Pardon it. I have to go very soon, but I'm not a voting member, and I would still like to present a potential proposal for someone else, perhaps. We have committees for everything. I think location hunting for Kingdom events would be a perfectly appropriate a small committee. I volunteer to be a part of it, but if there's 2, 3, 4 people who are interested in scouring around, mid-state about potential options and pursuing those, I think that would be far more productive than individuals hunting, making a list, losing that list, and not communicating.
Count me in.
I motion to
Cool.
make Athena head of the location hunting committee to report to us in May.
You've read my mind on this one. I already have announced several different mentorship councils. One of them I wanted to do was actually an event council to potentially pull together information like this. So when I announce that next month, I will already have your names in it. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you.
Awesome, Athena. Thank you.
Okay, 51c3 update. There is a lot of documentation that needs to be completed, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been very busy in March and April. I'm very thrilled for June because in June, a lot of stuff falls off my schedule. And I'm not going to do anything outside of AmpCard, obviously. Anyways, I have a lot of wonderful documents completed. Sebastian was kind enough to get me in contact with somebody who's actually gone through the transition before, which was outstanding. I don't want to submit something and have it be denied. So that's what's really taken the time, unfortunately. But we are on a pathway to be a 501c3 by the summer. That's it. It should have been done already, but I'm not going to lie. In March and April, I've been very busy, and I apologize. Anybody have any questions about anything related to the 501c3?
How can I help better with that? Because I know you have been doing all of it.
I would be lying if I said that I am like overburdened. I'm playing in 2 soccer leagues and I'm coaching a youth soccer team. That's really been the big issue, is that's taken up a lot of my time. And here are the documents for the 501c3. It's almost all done. I need to add the DEI and the safety statement, and I need to make a statement of information. And then I need to finish filling out the online form, which is honestly a pain in the tail. It's not a multi-person job unless you want to Zoom with me while I'm filling it out.
I was just volunteering because I know you have a lot on your plate.
You are always the best. And yes, Ben, I'm going to come to you and Sebastian, whether you like it or not. So,
perfect.
Thank you. That's it, guys. That is all we have on the meeting. So let's open the floor. Is there anything anybody wants to talk about?
Yes. You can go through the County of Monterey webpage and pay with credit card.
Jesus
Yeah, but they charge a fee for it, or at least that's what we've been told.
How much is the
There's a
fee?
7.5% fee.
They say
It's
that
7?
effective
Holy
March
ouch.
1st, effective March 1st, 2023, the new transaction fee for credit debit will be 1.75 for debit, 2.75 for credit.
Oh, heck
That's
yeah.
not bad.
Much more reasonable.
Right,
And
but we still had to pay a fee.
you can
And when we
reserve
were
it
looking
on
at
repeat for multiple
what
years.
was that?
Ooh.
By going through their webpage, you can also reserve it on repeat for multiple years. So we could reserve
Okay,
it
well, I
years ahead of
totally
time.
missed that.
That requires having a set date on multiple years, which
But then we
from
have
my
the set
understanding
date for
doesn't
multiple
happen.
years.
I mean,
And
this is true.
with the insecurity about the site and the sewage and all of that, we had talked about, well, okay, if we pay by credit card to secure the site because they don't have our check yet recorded, and we maybe use that to use for fog. There was a little bit of uncertainty. Are we going to even be there for fog? So, but that, no,
So
but
why
that's
reserve
really,
it if we might want to cancel it?
yeah, but that's really good to know. I'm going to call the Parks Department on Monday, because my contact is back on Monday. But I did not know that, so I will ask them about that.
Yeah, and Milan, you want to let me share here real fast? I can just show you exactly how I got to where I got.
Yes, absolutely. I am going to stop sharing right now, and you should be able to share. If you can't, let me know.
Wait, can you put that back up? I missed it.
What's say that one more time?
What was on the screen that you had on share
what was
screen?
on the
Put it back.
screen?
Okay, I'm going to share my screen again really quick.
Thank
Dun, dun,
you.
dun, 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 dun.
So we can a year in advance and pay 2% fee.
For
Okay,
credit
so
card.
yeah,
Yeah, I can
nobody.
just show you all this information.
All
I
right,
can't
I'm gonna
that's-
seem
stop
to
sharing and let Ethan pull it up.
Yeah, it says okay. Well, another participant is sharing. There we go. Let me make sure I grab the right screen. Share, perfect. So nope, that's the wrong thing. Boom. Okay, so just what is going on here? Perfect. So just typing in County Monterey Parks, you get the list of county parks in Monterey, right? We use the I'll look in Seca, San Lorenzo Park, right? And then there's a secure picnic site out San Lorenzo. Click through this, it takes you to a lovely terrible page which allows online purchasing reservations at the county park, which takes you to this lovely page. This is where I got that credit card information fee. Let me zoom this in so it's a little bit bigger.
Love it.
So this is what or officially stated on their webpage. And then just clicking through here, you can go to like building rentals, San Lorenzo, the list, Dianza building, blah, blah, blah. You can select the exact dates. You can actually even see which dates have already been reserved, which is why it's weirdly blocked out between the 2nd and the 5th. So you can see that you can't select those dates, but let's say we like wanted to choose the 9th.
Yeah.
I've already made a web page. So,
and you can repeat the reservation. We need to be doing that in advance so we don't ever have to stress. I love that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So it's like we can just be like, I want the 26th of April, repeat every year. So
Yeah,
Provided
but
it's
the
on a
issue with
weekend.
that has been, the first weekend in May, traditionally it's been, I think its first weekend has been the Civil War reenactment. And then, there's been variability in weekends.
I'm agreeing. What all I'm saying with this is we could pay this fee. Like it feels like the last multiple times we've done this, right? We've
Yeah.
always like rushed to get the check in the last week.
I know.
And I just feel like we should be encouraging events. Like as soon as the bid goes in, like this is the week we're going with. Like we should just lock it in 4 months ahead of time. Because using their webpage, we can do that. And we can just say like, I want the 9th. I want to add it to my cart. It pops up with the price. You go to checkout. It fills you out through some prompts, some waivers. You have to, it gives you all of the information about their alcohol policy and everything.
So can I say something?
Yes. Sorry, I don't mean to
Okay,
roll over you.
so there's forms that need to be filled out. There's applications, there's, are you gonna have alcohol? Are you gonna have bounce houses and all of that? There's like forms that you need to fill out and send in and get
All of them are here.
approved. Well, I know, but the time that it takes to do that, let me message you personally.
Okay.
It looks like it's all been digitized.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Is this is the alcohol serving and consumption form. You sit here, you read it, you say, I agree. Signed. I've now signed that form.
Okay, so that's all new from what I've
Yes.
been doing from a different perspective. Let me talk to you about that, because it seems like it would be a whole lot easier and would eliminate this. It's the week before the event and the payment hasn't gone through because the forms and the approval and somebody's out of the office and all of that.
100%. That's the whole reason I'm bringing this up is I'm trying to make this easier for us, because I'm not saying we have to set it up as a yearly or whatever else. I'm just saying I always hear this pain when we spend so much of our volunteer effort.
No, it's painful. No,
Yeah.
I hear you. So
Yeah.
can we work on that? That would be
100%.
awesome.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
it's going to ask me to fill in all this information again. But ultimately, I was filling around with this earlier, and it takes you to a payment page, which is just a credit card capture page. And it looked like they accepted all of the major ones, Visa, MasterCard, all of those. And yeah, sure, I think, that we will eat this fee, and the price will be, how much were we paying for the site? Like $3,000?
It's $27.30 for the site. And you know what? None of this, I haven't really seen any of this. It's always been email. Here are the forms you need to fill out. I fill them out. I send them back. There hasn't been any of this digital forms.
Yeah.
Westmarch has also been a kingdom when the email like contact between kingdoms was like a thing. So it's totally possible that when you were taught and trained how to do this, it was through that old method before digitizing websites and forms.
No, it
had
totally
really come into
was. I was the
place.
first one that came through when
Mhm.
there were all of these different requirements and all of these different forms that need to be filled out and
Mhm.
emailed back. And this is a whole new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like
Okay,
we can even
cool.
set
So,
like cleanup dates and stuff in here. So I think this does all of us. I would love to help you with this.
oh, awesome. I'm on it. I would love it.
That's going to make things really easy. I'm a big fan of this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're awesome, Sebastian. Thank you.
Just doing what I can to help you all do be amazing.
Let's make him a king.
All right, cool.
All right. I love this.
I'm glad I hung out to the end.
Me too, neither.
So there's another thing that we probably need to
Wait, maximum
discuss.
total is attendance 2,300.
I'm
Is
just
that what
typing
you
in
put?
numbers to get through this page
Okay.
because they're
Uh,
like roughly asking for like liability reasons, right, or whatever.
Right.
All right.
If we're moving
yeah.
on from event site, I did have something I needed to bring up that might concern a contract issue.
Bring it up, Scorch.
So, part of the contract that you sign when you become a land is that you do so swear to follow all laws and ordinances of your state, federal, county, whatever, what have you. And there has been the leadership of a park that has not been doing that. And it might come to a point where we have to pull their contract because they are participating in illegal activities during AmPGuard events or practice.
There's a park that's participating in illegal activities.
Yes.
Is it permissible to make this a closed BoD meeting?
I am in favor of that, yes.
So should we stop recording? Is that what we're saying?
How about we
If
quickly
you do,
decide
could
the
you
next
table
date?
something
I
for
think
me?
that can close the meeting, right?
Yep. All right. Let's choose the date.
Could you table something for me?
What do you need tabled?
Just need to share the 501c3 information. Sebastian and I were in the middle of a meeting where we got some fruitful information on how to obtain donations and sponsorships while having a 501c3 status. So I apologize for interrupting. We're about to close.
You're fine. I'm not sure that's going to be super pertinent, at least until the summer is actively like summering.
Understood. I just wanted to let the BoD know that we got some fruitful information.
Cool.
All right. So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to add to the May meeting Bear details about 501c3.
Thank you. That'll settle it.
Perfect.
Decide
All right.
date and then close the meeting or and discuss that.
Sounds good. Obviously May 3rd, 4th, and 5th is Dark Shore. Memorial Day weekend is 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th. I would assume those are out. Does anybody else have a date that they recommend?
Mother's Day is the 12th, so maybe not that weekend.
Sounds
There's any
17.
mothers.
So 17. How's everybody looking?
17 looks good for me.
17 is good. That's before Salt Wars.
May 17th at 6 p.m.
I am busy, but it's something I can drop.
James, that's up to you. You want to do May 16th at 6 p.m.?
No, that's one I can't drop.
May 15th?
Yeah, I'm free on the 15th.
Anybody against May 15th?
I am 4/15.
All right, May 15th at 6 p.m. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I have a motion to
Okay.
close the meeting to the public to discuss
Okay.
the issue Scorch brought up.
Motion to close the meeting to the public.
Seconded.
All right.